YTBC, what's the deal? So I'm gonna do a quick response video to my man Dblockexpress. I'm gonna play a quick snippet from his video, and I will leave his video in the description box below so you can check it out. But I'm gonna play a quick snippet from his video and let him explain himself and explain the question that he's posing to the YTBC.
If Golovkin, and right now is the best time to fight Ward. If Golovkin defeats Andre Ward, I'm trying to say it enough so people understand why it's so powerful. Golovkin can be considered top 5, dead or alive, best boxers to ever lace them up. And that's the truth. That's why it's so serious. Golovkin should be licking his chops that's bigger than a belt. With this fight, Golovkin beating Ward automatically moves him into the Hall of Fame. Just like that. And not just pound for pound rankings. You will be sitting close as hell next to the Alis, the Sugar Ray Robinsons of the world. And that's the truth. I know it sounds crazy. In my opinion, if Golovkin defeats Ward, he can be considered top 5, dead or alive, greatest boxer.
All right, let me give my opinion on it. Now, do I think Triple G right now at this moment has a better resume than Andre Ward? Hell no. And if anybody that really thinks that, either you're being very biased, or you're being biased, or you just have a weird way of viewing boxers and accomplishments, okay? Because Andre Ward, I mean, both these guys were Olympians. Ward won a gold, Golovkin won a silver. Ward's won the Super 6. He's beat guys like Froch, Kessler, Abraham, Bika, Green, Miranda, Boone. The Edwin Rodriguez win is looking a little bit better. Rodriguez had that exciting fight against an undefeated Michael Seals. He's beat Dawson, whether you thought Dawson was weight drained or not. He still beat him. 114-3 in the amateurs. Yada yada. We know that, right? Now, there was some guys that we would have wanted to see him fight, maybe just a few guys, but nothing that he had to do to solidify himself at that division. Butte would have been a nice fight after the Super 6 when Butte was undefeated. Even when DeGale won the strap and then Jack won the strap, those would have been nice, but he decided to move up. Triple G hasn't accomplished anything close to that as far as in the middleweight. He's trying, though, and even if you look at the guys that are in the division, the names aren't going to match up the way the super middleweight names matched up. Even if he does, let's say the WBC allows him to fight Toriano Johnson for the title at Toriano Johnson, I think he's going to get knocked out. There's no way this dude's going to beat Triple G. Quillen and Jacobs winner, that'd be a nice name. Saunders and Lee, it'd be a decent name. Just the names don't match up. There's not the middleweight division isn't popping right now. So I don't want to confuse anybody by that. I just think the accomplishment of being undisputed has to be highly regarded. Now, how you match up to other undisputed champions of different eras, well, then we're just arguing who was the greater undisputed champion. That's a nice argument to be involved in. Hey, man, who was the greatest undisputed champion? Some guys are going to rank lower. Some guys are going to rank higher. But just the fact that you were undisputed, that separates you from a lot of, that weeds, it weeds people out. So that separates you. And that to me as a fan means something. I'm not just going to sweep that under the rug. But he's halfway there. Golovkin is halfway there. He has a WBA and the IBF. No matter who he beat or how he got it, he is halfway to accomplishing it. Now, if you want to count this WBC interim, okay, I guess he's 2.5 of the belts out of 4, but he's halfway there. He got 2 out of 4. So what he's trying to accomplish is great. Now, I can't give him credit for being undisputed yet because he haven't accomplished it. I can only give him credit for what he's done. So what he's done is got 2 out of the 4 straps in a middleweight division that isn't how it used to be in the 80s or the 90s, but he is dominating his situation right now. So I will give him credit for that. And it's even to the point where his resume is so much weaker than a lot of the other top guys. BoxRec has Canelo rated #1 middleweight. That's not my opinion. That's according to BoxRec. And BoxRec, they use a system. They go about how many, champions you fought, who they fought. They have a point system. And let me this kind of a sidebar. Canelo, if you were to tell me, that you take a 21-year-old kid and tell that kid, hey, kid, look, we know you just beat, the Matthew Hattons and Indus and the Ryan Rhodes and Alfonso Gomez's of the world. But look here, kid, we about to put you in the ring in a 4-year span against some old guys and some up-and-coming guys. We're going to put you in there with Baldomir, Cintron, Mosley, Lopez, Trout, Mayweather, Angulo, Cotto, Laura, and Kirkland in a 4-year span for a 21-year-old. That's pretty fucking impressive. Now, we can sit here and break down each fighter, and that's impressive, man. Let's just cut the bullshit. That's an impressive 4-year span for a 21-year-old kid, and to only lose one of those fights, and he lost to Mayweather, and he didn't get, beat up or, beat from pillar to post. He got outboxed. Well, one judge had it 114, but you catch my drift. Okay, now that's Canelo. Now, Ward, I just don't think Triple G beating Ward is so valuable that it will just catapult him to top 5 of all time status. Like, I think that's a little far-fetched. We have to argue, is Ward even the best super middleweight of all time? He's the best right now, and he has beaten other guys who will be looked at and viewed as some of the best super middleweights. We know the division is very young. It's been around since 1984. If you do the history on it, I looked it up. I think I found that in the 70s that there was a division called the junior light heavyweight. Is that what it's called? The junior light heavyweight division, where they campaigned at 167. But super middleweight is 168. So it's been around since, I believe, 84. So it's a young division. It's very young. But even with that said, they still got to fight and the years keep going by. And you can say that Ward is right up there or even surpass guys like Steve Collins, Carl Froch, a guy who he's beaten, Chris Eubank, Michael Watson, Savine Aki. Go on and on, man, with the list. You could put Ward right in there. And I know like a guy like Savine Aki, he has more title defenses than Ward, a lot more, 21. But shit, I don't think Aki's style of that whole, walk you down with a high guard and do the old 1-2 down the middle style will work against Ward. I think Ward would dominate the hell out of that dude. That dude's reign, Aki's reign was a little over 5 years. Ward's was a little over 5 years, but head to head, talent for talent, I think Ward's light years better than him. And I've seen Aki fight. I've seen the Robin Reed fight. I've seen the Mundine fight. And there was another fight that he fought. Mundine, Reed, Johnson. I've seen the Glenn Johnson fight. And he's using the same style. That's just too one-dimensional, too straight up and down. It's too vanilla, man. Like, he'll get dominated. I thought Calzaghe would have dominated him, too. Calzaghe's reign in super middleweight, double Ward's, even by the years. Ward's reign was, 5 years, and he was inactive for a little bit, too, after the Super 6. Calzaghe's reign was 10 years. He was 22-0 in title fights. So we can argue that Calzaghe is the best super middleweight of all time. And it's a young division that's only been around since the 80s. So I don't think a win over Andre Ward will catapult anybody into top 5 of all time. I mean, it would have to be something so spectacular. Like, it would almost have to be something so far-fetched. Like, let me think of something. Like, it would have to be like Keith Thurman going up to fight Andre Ward. I mean, it would have to be something just out of this world. And I don't think fighting a guy that's, 8 pounds above you, and you guys are both in your prime years, both undefeated, both very confident, and you're coming in knocking out your last, how many knockouts has Triple G had in his last, 22 fights guys haven't made to see the final bell? I don't think a guy like that will come in and getting the win over Ward would catapult him. I just don't see that. These guys they're not even, because I will favor Ward. I have always favored Ward against Triple G. Not just, today, not last month. The very first time this was ever brought up, I always favored Ward. Not because I'm trying to underhand Triple G. I think Triple G is an excellent fighter. But I just always thought Ward could handle Triple G's style. And I think Ward is just a stronger inside fighter. And I think if let's say Triple G and Ward are even when it comes to boxing. just using the jab, using footwork. I think, okay, if they're even in that, I think Ward is a stronger inside fighter. But it's just my opinion. You know, anything can happen in the ring, but I don't think, I don't think Triple G beating Ward will catapult him to top 5 pound for pound of all time. I think that's far-fetched. And I think D-Block has a lot of stock in Andre Ward, and it goes to show how much he respects Ward. And rightfully so. You know, it's not like Ward's some damn scrub, but I just don't think a win over Ward is that valuable for a guy that's at 160. I mean, you might as well say, shit, if Quillin beats Jacobs and says, fuck Triple G, I don't want to fight you at all, I'm going to move up and fight Ward. So if Quillin beats Ward, does that move him up? Because, hey, he's undefeated. He won a strap. You know what I mean? So he's been champion at middleweight. Or better yet, that's like Quillin beating Jacobs, winning that regular title. And then let's say he was to fight Saunders or Lee, win their title, and then he vacates both of them, and then he moves up and fights Ward. And he beats Ward. Would that make him top 5? You know, so what I'm trying to say is just, I don't think a win over Ward is that valuable for a guy who's only one weight class below him. To me, it would have to be something so drastic and out of this world. Like I said, like a Keith Thurman situation, you know, but resume for resume, I think Ward has a better resume than Triple G. But, you know, people like to get on Triple G in the middleweight division, and, you know, the whole middleweight division isn't as strong. I will say that. I will say it's not as strong. But I want to see what Canelo does in this division, too. I don't want to hear about this dude being too short or he's too little, because then you're disrespecting guys like Hagler, who was 5'9", and LaMotta was, what, 5'7" or some shit, 5'8". I mean, come on with the whole you're too short. And the guys who are in division are 5'10", 5'11". You know, I believe Lee may be 6'2". There may be some 6-footers, but they're all 5'10", 5'9", 5'11". You know, so I know I'm all over the place, man, but when I get to talk about boxing, I can go on for hours. But yeah, resume for resume. And there, you know, and there is some guys on Triple G resume who he doesn't get credit for. And I'm big on what Triple G has done, you know, so I don't want to give him credit for shit he hasn't accomplished yet. So he's yet to become undisputed, you know, and that's not something I'm going to just sweep under the rug like it's nothing. But until he accomplishes, then I'll give him the full credit, you know, for being undisputed. But right now he's unified and he's looking to try to be undisputed. You know what I'm saying? But his resume doesn't stack up towards, you know, the Willie Monroe Jr. People shit on that victory. I thought that was a good victory, man. Monroe's a good fighter, man. Even Mayweather said if he had Monroe, they could have put him in his gym and he would have fought a better fight against Golovkin that night. Monroe is a talented kid, man. BoxRec even has him rated number 13 overall middleweights in the world. So he's a talented kid, man. People are just shitting on him like he ain't nothing. It's like, damn, man, like, not even to big up GGG, but just to give Willie Monroe Jr. is a good kid. He was a good amateur, you know, so, but in no way am I saying Willie Monroe is, you know, a top fighter of all time. You know, I'm just saying he's a good, talented kid, you know, but, yeah, man, Triple G beating Andre Ward would not catapult him. It'd be a great victory, because then we'll have to stand back and look at it like, okay, say he did retire after Ward. Let's say Triple G vacates the title, says, fuck it, I want Ward. And he fights Ward and he beats him and then he retires. And if Triple G walked around and said, hey, man, I'm the greatest, I'm TBE. Do you know how he would get roasted? We would roast him on the YTBC if he tried some shit like that. There's no way we would let Triple G get away with saying he's the best ever if he went up and just fought Ward and then retired off that. Because then he'll be saying, look, okay, his career would be that he won the WBA, the IBF. He was a unified champion at middleweight. He went, you know, 30-something-0 with 30-something knockouts, 91% KO percentage. And then he moved up and beat one of the top, you know, 3 super middleweights of all time, and then he retired. So he's the best of all time. That doesn't even sound right. You know what I mean? To me, breaking down somebody's resume, you're a unified champ at your division. You move up another division and beat a guy who is one of the best all time at that division. And then that makes you one of the best fighters of all time. like top 5, top 3, not just one of the best, you know, grouping them in there with the, you know, hundreds of fighters, but just of all time, top 3 or top 4 or top 5. No, not at all. I don't put that much stock in Ward. Like I said, he's not even, you know, it's not like he was the greatest thing at super middleweight. Although we can't argue that, hey, he is one of the best. But shit, I would say Calzaghe is the best super middleweight. So can't even give him credit for being the best super middleweight. One of the best, but I don't believe Ward is the best super middleweight of all time. Just my opinion, man. I wanted to make this quick. Damn, I'm approaching 16 minutes. Hope that answered your question, D-Block. Good topic, though, man. I'm sure people are going to disagree with me, but it's just my thoughts, man. Just opinion from one uploader. YTBC, I'm out.